Hi, this is Ken and Michelle Bass.
And you're listening to the Resilient Parenting Podcast.
Well, here we are again. Believe it or not. I'm not sure I believe it, but here we are.
Yes, we're here once again, and you're listening, so you must be there.
Maybe. I'm here.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the listeners.
Oh, there.
Yes. And a quick reminder, if you like what you hear, please do some stars. 4 or 5 would be lovely. And a review if you have time. And also, if you find this content valuable, please share it with your friends and family. And today, we're going to talk about, well, we'll use us as an example.
Okay.
When we got married, I had mine.
Yeah.
You had yours.
Still do.
Together, we had ours.
Oh.
And that made us a
Blended family. Ding, 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 ding. Yours, mine, and ours.
Yes.
The real version, not the movie version.
With a lot less kids.
Yeah.
But still all the fun and drama that goes with a blended family. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Here.
Well, actually, it was in McCall.
There.
We didn't get to go, but we did meet them on Zoom. Next time, though, we're going to go in person.
Okay.
Okay, well, we are joined by Traci Jamieson, LPC, the Executive Director at Ignite Idaho Resource Center, and Ashley McCoy, the Clinical Director at Ignite Idaho Resource Center, who is a licensed marriage and family therapist. So thanks for joining us. How are you?
We're doing good. Thank you.
You need long name badges for all those titles there.
There's a front and back side.
Yeah.
So we're so excited to meet with you. And for our listeners, we're actually meeting you on Zoom, but you are located in McCall, which is, next time we would love to be able to just go to McCall and do a twofer, which is spend time with you all and then enjoy some of the nature that McCall offers.
The good thing about this is there's a possibility in our time doing the Zoom, they may not get all the information to us, so we may have to actually get more from them.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. We're dedicated. We're dedicated. We're dedicated to finding information. So speaking of finding information, can you share a little bit about your resource center and the programs that you offer?
Absolutely. So Ignite Idaho Family Resource Center was founded by Ashley and myself, and it was in August of 2021. We realized the gaps in services, and we started out small. We were just doing, people could call us for resources, and we'd outsource most of those calls to any of the organizations that we knew of that could benefit these families.
Yeah, and Ignite. Where'd you come up with the word ignite or ignite? Excuse me. Ignite.
We went round and round on different things, but we realized that we want to ignite hope. We want people to understand that, to take time and have courage to connect. We want people to realize that it's okay to ask for help. And even if you don't know exactly what you need, reach out and let other people work with you through that journey.
I love that. So I was looking a little bit on your website, and by the way, the website and the link to it will be shared in the show notes. But it looks like you have some different programs like support groups and some others. You want to share a little bit with our listeners?
So we have parenting classes, parenting support groups, youth support groups, drop-in wellness childcare, counseling, mental health support services, recovery support services.
Nice.
Some of our parenting classes are directed towards blending families. So we do offer like a co-parenting class and also a parenting class for parents of teenagers.
Both of those are pretty hefty.
Intense.
What am I being a fly on the wall for those?
We also have strengthening families, which Idaho Children's Trust Fund has really helped with that program as well. And it really helps with blended families. It gives them some of the ways to work together as a team, and change that family dynamic.
You know,
It's so
I'm
needed.
kind of curious about something since you said you guys started this up in 2021. What were you doing before this? What actually drew you into this?
I ran a group home, the Shepherd's Home in McCall for 5
Yes.
years. And that's when we kind of realized that there was a need. And Ashley, actually, we met up and started working together. And she has had significant experience with working with families, and I'll kind of have her.
Yeah, so before I moved to McCall, I worked for the Child Abuse Prevention Council, which was a
Okay.
family resource center. And so I had a lot of experience with working with kids also in the system, or children that were dealing with divorced families and blended families. And so that kind of like sparked our interest when we connected, because we had that common ground and could see the need really for kids.
And I don't know what the percentage is. Maybe you all know, but how many families are actually blended, or, you know, the divorce rate. At one time it was like 50%, but I thought I saw somewhere that was more like 60 or something.
I did hear that it increased, but I know that the number that I had originally was about 50%. And we know that that has increased over the years. You know, not only has, you know, society changed, but also with COVID, you know, people just lost that connection. And, you know, we're realizing more and more in our practices that families are coming in finally and saying, we need help. We're not sure how to connect. We're not sure how to get back into the swing of daily living.
Right, right. So full disclosure, Ken and I are actually a blended family. So he brought, well, we've been married 25 years. So he brought a 13-year-old, I brought an 18-month-old, and then we had 2 of our own. So, and I also am from a family that my parents were divorced. So I have it from all different angles. So, and recently, we've had a lot of listeners write in and ask about more resources for blended families, or for, you know, dealing with divorce and how to co-parent. So it's a really timely topic. And I have a feeling, we talked about it before we started this, but that we want to, there's probably more that we can go in depth about. But right now, you have some information that you want to share. And so I just wanted to give you the floor for that.
Okay, so a couple things that we feel are very important is, you know, recognizing that transition for families, realizing that every situation is unique. And, you know, there's emotional complexities, co-parenting dynamics, all different kinds of adjustments. And we want them to know the importance of open and effective communication. It's a key component for all families, including, you know, the ex-spouses, new parents, children. We want to encourage that active listening, respecting each other's perspectives, the ability to express feelings and concerns in a constructive manner. We want to, yeah.
I was just thinking that can be really difficult when there's a reason why you got divorced. So, you know, like being able to like figure out how to manage that would be challenging, but so important. So important. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
And the key factor we feel like to that is putting the focus on what is best for the child, right? So it's kind of
Yes.
your emotions to the side and focusing on what is in the best interest of my kid.
Putting the child first. Let's say that again.
Yeah. And I think sometimes it is extremely difficult for each parent in that situation not to think about all the other variables. And that's when that conflict kind of arises. So I think it's important for, you know, when they reach out for help, for the professionals to say, hey, like, we get it. I think it's important for the families to realize that they can, you know, ask for help. And there's so many different variables in the relationships that they're building and conflicts. But if we always redirect them back to the importance, if they're looking at and focusing on the child and the well-being of the child, all the other things are still going to be there. But
Right.
if they're consistently focusing on the child's need, not their need, not their spouse's need, not their financial issues, it is solely the well-being and best interest of the child, I think that does help them work together better.
Yeah,
Okay,
I could see that.
that does make sense. Now you guys work with the West Central Mountains, but you've got some other areas you're expanding into possibly?
So we have also recently developed the Anchor. It's a youth assessment center, and it's working with Washington County, Adams County, all the way through Valley County into Boise County, all the way down to Garden Valley. And it is trying to assess a child's needs, including their families, and get them into any resources and services that they need.
So are you seeing an uptick in folks needing supports? I know you said something about during the pandemic, there was more, it seemed like maybe there was more of a need. And what are some issues that you're seeing that folks who are working with blended families, what they're facing?
I mean, since COVID, there definitely has been an uptick in the need for support in regards to mental health and behavioral health. In regards to blended families, it's really about the connection piece. Because of COVID, everybody did become so isolated and there wasn't a lot of connection. And so providing that support and connection to, people of blended families and just individuals in our communities.
And I would say recently in both of our, work, professionally, we have seen a lot more need for couples and family therapy. People are saying we need to understand how to work together as a team, how to connect, how to focus on respecting each other's boundaries and, maintaining a healthy environment.
Honestly, that's just amazing that they recognize that and they're seeking help. Because it can be very unhealthy very quickly, not just for themselves, but really, in the end, the children are the ones who get hurt the most. So being able to have that support to be able to figure out how to communicate is huge. What are some things that you would suggest to like folks that are new to this, that are just in the process, or
Well, we want to emphasize the importance of the child's emotional needs, physical needs, and development as they create a stable and supportive environment. We want to be able to guide the parents to creating like a parenting plan, consistent routine, maintaining, a united front, working on discipline and parenting decisions as a team. And that can be really difficult for people.
Yeah, avoid the triangulation.
Yes. And we've seen that far too often.
Yeah.
And I think in both our practices, saying have your healthy boundaries, not only with yourself, with your, significant others, but also with your children, because that triangulation is so easy to start and it just spirals quickly.
So just in case if there's anyone that's listening that doesn't know what it means to be in that situation, what does triangulation mean?
I think professionally, looking at it from a triangulation from a counselor's perspective would be like if we're working with a family, one way a counselor can become triangulated into the family would be like holding a secret for someone that would not be beneficial for like the entire family. Some other examples would be in regards to doing just like relationship counseling, or like blended family or co-parenting counseling, same kind of thing, is being entangled into their emotional piece between them versus being an unbiased person to kind of help the family.
So it's a third party basically that doesn't necessarily need to be there, is what you're saying?
Not that they don't need to be there, but they should be there as a support person for the family as a whole, and not for one person or the other.
And I think oftentimes people want us to take sides, right? well,
Oh,
I'm the one that's being nicer, or I'm the one that helped the kid more. And really what we have to say to them is, we're not actually talking about you. We're talking about the kid and going back to their well-being and the best interest for that child. So we don't
well,
even kind of get into that personal piece of mom said, dad said, he said, she
right.
said, you did this. It's let's focus back on the child's needs.
Right. Because when I think of triangulation, for me, like my experience in it is like playing the parents against each other. Like one parent is like, oh yeah, yeah, you can do that here, kind of thing. And then the kid then goes to the other parent and says, well, dad lets me do that there, like kind of playing them against each other without them knowing necessarily that they're playing a part. So
Correct.
when you were talking about that communication and discipline and being on the same page, that can avoid that triangulation because they are talking, and so it kind of relieves the kid actually. Because I mean, I would have guessed that it's a strategy for safety and for getting their needs met, but in a really um, uh, unhealthy way.
So the two parents act as one instead of two
Yeah.
separate entities.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we kind of stress that, like respecting boundaries and new relationships in the family structure. We encourage that mutual respect, acceptance, and understanding each other's role and contributing to the family. Like we want them to seek support from each other and from, community, friends, any of those things. But ultimately, it comes down to the parents of that child and them being able to communicate effectively without allowing all of these other pieces to get in the way.
Yeah.
And we have to stress the importance of respecting each other, not talking bad about each other.
Oh, that's so damaging.
Yep.
Well, one thing that I remember hearing, and I don't know what you think about this, but it's like when one parent talks badly about the other parent in front of their child, it's really like talking bad about them because each parent, they're a part of that parent through whether it's blood related or not, they're connected. And so it puts the child almost in like a loyalty bind, like trying to figure out, instead of being able to just love each parent in their own way, it suddenly becomes like this internal battle within the child, which is something they don't need to deal with on top of their whole way that they've lived so far has changed.
Yeah, no, that's so true. And actually, Ashley does the co-parenting class, and there are numerous different pieces to this program, but one of them is kind of like divorce rules, and she has some that she can kind of go over. It really helps families understand what they're doing to their kid when they aren't maybe talking appropriate, because far too often parents don't realize when they say hurtful things about the other parent, it's not hurting the other parent, it's actually hurting the child.
So one of the handouts is divorce rules, and I always tell parents to put this on their refrigerator so that they consistently see it and it can be a consistent reminder to them.
Okay.
It starts off, "Dear mom and dad, I'm just a kid, so please do not talk badly about my other parent. This makes me feel torn apart. It also makes me feel bad about myself. Do not talk about my other parent's friends or relative. Let me care for someone even if you don't. Do not talk about the divorce or other grown-up stuff. This makes me feel sick. Please leave me out of it. Do not talk about money or child support. This makes me feel guilty or like I am a possession instead of your kid." And it just goes on. There's about 20 different rules that it goes on and talks about, and it gives it from the kid's perspective of how it makes them feel. And then at the bottom, it just says, "Thanks, your loving kid."
I love that it's from the kid's point of view because that is so much more powerful than from a professional, like just saying, this is what you should and shouldn't do. It's like you feel the impact that you're causing your child.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
How easy is it for people to be able to, we'll have the resources posted, of course, but how easy is it for people to access you to ask questions normally?
So Ignite Idaho Family Resource Center, for example, helps families navigate those services in the community and get connected. So all they have to do is call us, 208-994-5537, and somebody's going to answer. They're going to say, here's what we need, and we're going to find those resources for them. We do an initial screening of the family, and we hear their needs, and then we make sure that we connect them with each and every one of those needs.
And some of our resources are in-house, and if we don't have that resource, we will definitely connect them to another community resource that provides that.
Wow. And if they call, do they need to be in your area, or like someone from, I don't know, like Idaho Falls? Can they call and ask questions, or is it just specific?
Absolutely, they can call and ask questions. We can answer any of those questions. We're more than willing to even look for some of those resources for them, and then connect them with the people, kind of do a soft handoff. There's so many families that when they have one need, they probably have more, and it's hard to even ask for one, let alone 4 or 5 different needs. So we want to make that very clear to people, that it doesn't matter if you're in the West Central Mountains. It doesn't matter if you're in McCall. We may not be able to meet you face to face. We do telehealth throughout all of Idaho.
Oh, nice.
So there are ways for them to connect with us, and then we will connect them with the appropriate organizations that would best serve their needs.
Well, this has been a really great conversation, and I already while we've been talking, I've been thinking, oh, what about this? Ooh, what about this? And realizing that it's a hot topic, that there's lots of avenues that we could explore, that are timely, and that I know a lot of families are impacted by it. Even families that aren't directly the ones getting divorced, but the extended family are also impacted by it. And I would just say a big shout out to any of our listeners who maybe aren't the ones getting divorced, but maybe it's your child, or your uncle, or whatever. Be aware of what was said to the parents. Also, like how you talk about the parents in front of maybe your grandchild or your niece or nephew, because it impacts just as strongly. So I immediately was thinking that just extended family need to also hear this.
What we do want to stress the importance also that we haven't really touched on is self-care and personal well-being of each member of the family.
Yes.
By addressing all of those key points for the family, it helps create a positive environment for the kids and the whole family.
Yeah.
We just want to make sure people realize, it's hard navigating all of these different aspects of a family dynamic. But if we don't take care of ourselves, it's really hard to take care of others.
That's so true. It's so true. And there's different phases and changes and transitions as the kids get older, and things, maybe bringing new people into the lives. I mean, there's just so many little, what would you call them? Oh, I don't know what the word would be.
And you expect me to know it?
Like disturbances.
Oh, okay.
I go back to complexities. Yes.
Complexities, where
Big word. Big word.
Yourself. If you're not taking care of yourself, it can have an even bigger impact on your mental health and your overall well-being.
And then some of the stuff that we also teach is just about the developmental stages that the child's in when families divorce or blending, the different impacts it could have on children depending on where they are developmentally.
Oh my goodness. Can you guys come back? Can we do more?
I feel like there's more information to be found. And I feel like that, if we go up 55 to McCall, meet for lunch at my father's place or something, I just go down by Payette Lake.
It doesn't have a place there?
No. They got burgers.
Just kidding.
Okay. It's my favorite place to go. To by Payette Lake and discuss this further, possibly.
Absolutely. We'd love to. We also want to give you guys a few books that we feel would be beneficial for families. So a book that we'd like to let you guys know about is The Connected Child, which is Karen Parvis. She wrote that for adoptive families. Loving and Listening, a parent's book for daily inspiration for rebuilding the family after a divorce.
Loving and Listening.
Okay.
And then the next one was Gary Chapman's book, Building Love Together in Blended Families. using the 5 love languages. Those are 3 that we
Oh.
feel would be
Ooh.
kind of touch on each of those, different types of blended families, whether it's divorce, adoption, or, just, remarriage, whatever that is,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I love those ideas, and we'll add those to the show notes as well. So you don't have to be pulling over in your car and trying to write all this down. We'll have it. Just go to the show notes. And thank you, both of you, so much for joining us. And let's definitely get together again, and maybe we could do different parts, like a 4-part series. I'm thinking big.
That'd be
Big burger
wonderful.
from my father's place. No, I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness, he needs to eat. Clearly, he's hungry
Are you hungry right now?
Yes, I am.
for knowledge.
Yeah, that
Right.
too.
Well, we really appreciate you guys being willing to allow us to participate in this program, and we're really excited to, meet again and let people, know the importance of seeking help and asking for different supports.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tracy. Thanks,
All
Ashley.
right. Thank you both.
This podcast is brought to you by the Idaho Children's Trust Fund.